frustration get the better of you and make you do things you should never do. You got to keep the faith, you can't surrender. You never know, tomorrow may be brighter. Behind every dark cloud, there's a silver lining. So don't give up hope now. We gotta keep on trying. Oh Lord, we gotta keep on going. We gotta keep on moving on. As long as you have health and strength, reaching your goal, nothing should prevent. Every time you fall, get up again. Don't sit down there like that and complain. You got to stand up and continue fighting. Don't give up, keep courage, you must win. Don't you know, behind every dark cloud, there's a silver lining. So don't give up hope now. We gotta keep on trying. Oh Lord, we gotta keep on going. We gotta keep on moving on. Obstacles will get in the way, stumbling blocks to hinder your day. But you can't afford to let them stop you, no matter how hard it is to go through. You got to stand up and continue fighting. Endurance shall win in the ending. Don't you know, behind every dark cloud, there's a silver lining. So don't give up hope now. We gotta keep on trying. Oh Lord, we gotta keep on going. We gotta keep on moving on. Be of a strong, positive mind. Negative thoughts, leave them behind. We got to go forward in sure certainty. Let no element humbug that possibility. But if you give up, you have no way of knowing if next day would have brought good tidings. Don't you know, behind every dark cloud, there's a silver lining. So don't give up hope now. We gotta keep on trying. Oh Lord, we gotta keep on going. We gotta keep on moving on. Behind every dark cloud, there's a silver lining. So don't give up hope now. We gotta keep on trying. We gotta keep on going. We gotta keep on moving on. We know it's a long and winding road, and we got a heavy load, but we have to hold it straight. Get up and try again, because behind every dark cloud, there's a silver lining. So don't give up hope now.
Keep me as the apple of thine eye. Hide me under the shadow of thy wing. O Lord, my Savior. It's so hard to deal with personal struggle. So sad when you feel alone in your trouble. It's real hard when you want to talk to a brother. It's so bad because of how some look at you after. So Jesus, come and be while you fix it. Come and be while you fix it. Come and be while you fix it. Jesus, come and me. Come and be while you fix it. Come and be while you fix it. Come and be while you fix it. Jesus, come and me. Cover my head. Satan want me dead. Cover my back from human attack. So Jesus, cover me while you fix it. Cover me while you fix it. Jesus, cover me while you fix it. Jesus, cover me. People see you smile, but don't know the hurt that you're feeling. Even as God's child, at times your heart does be bleeding. Where can you go when you're really looking for healing? Who know how to flow when your soul needs some restoring? So Jesus, cover me while you fix it. Cover me while you fix it. Cover me while you fix it. Jesus, cover me. Cover me while you fix it. Cover me while you fix it. Cover me while you fix it. Jesus, cover me. Cover me home from evils unknown. Cover my feet so I'll never retreat. Oh Lord, cover me while you fix it. Cover me while you fix it. Cover me while you fix it. Jesus, cover me. Cover my brother. Cover my sister. Them who under pressure. Cover the preacher, every church worker, the young believer. Cover the worship leader and intercessor, every gospel minister. Cover. Jesus alone is the one who has the real answer. The one on the throne is the true and loving Father. He will hold your hand and keep you from going under. He will make you stand and let you know he's a fixer. Cover me while you fix it. Cover me while you fix it. Jesus, cover me while you fix it. Jesus, cover me. Cover me while you fix it. Cover me while you fix it. Cover me while you fix it. Jesus, cover me. Cover me mind. You know the struggle sometimes. Cover me mouth, that the wrong thing wouldn't come out. Oh Lord, cover me while you fix it. Cover me while you fix it. Cover me while you fix it. Jesus, cover me. Cover the Christian in the midst of aggression with the power of your right hand. Jesus, cover them helpless children. Jesus, defend them. Send help from heaven. Jesus, cover all them radio stations that blessing the nation. Grant divine protection. Jesus, cover me. Cover.
Truer words were never spoken. The less you associate with some people, the more your life will improve. Anytime you tolerate mediocrity in others, it increases your mediocrity. An important attribute in successful people is their impatience with negative thinking and negative acting people. As you grow, your associates will change. Some of your friends will not want you to go on. They will want you to stay where they are. Friends that don't help you climb will want you to crawl. Your friends will stretch your vision or choke your dream. Those that don't increase you will eventually decrease you. Consider this. Never receive counsel from unproductive people. Never discuss your problems with someone incapable of contributing to the solution, because those who never succeed themselves are always first to tell you how. Not everyone has a right to speak into your life. You are certain to get the worst of the bargain when you exchange ideas with the wrong person. Don't follow anyone who's not going anywhere. With some people you spend an evening. With others, you invest it. Be careful where you stop to inquire for directions along the road of life. Wise is the person who fortifies his life with the right friendships. If you run with wolves, you will learn how to howl. But if you associate with eagles, you will learn how to soar to great heights. A mirror reflects a man's face, but what he is really like is shown by the kind of friends he chooses. The simple but true fact of life is that you become like those with whom you closely associate, for the good and the bad. Note, be not mistaken. This is applicable to family as well as friends. Yes, do love, appreciate, and be thankful for your family, for they will always be your family, no matter what. Just know that they are human first, and though they are family to you, they may be a friend to someone else and will fit somewhere in the criteria above. In prosperity, our friends know us. In adversity, we know our friends. Never make someone a priority when you are only an option for them. If you are going to achieve excellence in big things, you develop the habit in little matters. Excellence is not an exception. It is a prevailing attitude.
Yes, 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 yes. Let me say a special hello to all the WZYU 95.9 FM listeners, of course. Those listening on 91.9 FM in TNT. Let me say it's Sunday Talk. Let's talk politics with yours truly, Professor Wall Street, and my partner, the one and only Uncle Tommy. So, folks, let me say a special welcome as you come in. Share the live, share the live, share the live. iWatch TV on YouTube, the Street 919 FM on Facebook, and the Street 919 FM on Instagram. You can reach us here at 973 868 1444. That's 973 868 1444. And remember, folks, we go here on 91.9 FM from 1 to 3 p.m. And at 3 p.m., we go over to WZYE TV on YouTube and WZYE 95.9 FM on Facebook. Again, we are here from 1 to 3 p.m. And at 3 p.m., we move over to WZYE TV on YouTube and WZYE 95.9 FM on Facebook. Let me bring in my partner here, the man himself, the one and only Uncle Tommy. Tommy, how you going?
Good, good, good. Good afternoon to you, and good afternoon to everyone on the street and those on WCYE also in the village. A special good New Year's Eve to everyone. Wishing everybody everything positive.
So there you have it, Tommy. Let's go straight to our pledge. The only radio station on the planet. Let me repeat that. The only radio station on the planet that have a pledge to the people who are listening to us here on 91.9 FM as well as WZY 95.9 FM in the diaspora. Take a listen.
Ansam LeBon and Marshall Nesbitt solemnly swear to conduct this radio program in a true, fair, and balanced manner, ensuring that all perspectives are given equal consideration and that the information presented is objective and unbiased. We pledge to provide a platform where diverse voices can be heard, fostering open and constructive dialogue that serves the best interests of our audience and community. Our commitment is to uphold the principles of journalistic integrity and ethical broadcasting throughout the duration of this program. Thank you.
Tommy,
Yes.
first of all, I want to wish each and everyone a splendiferous Happy New Year, and may all of you get all that you richly deserve in 2024. Let me say that. Let me get that out of the way. So I don't know if you want to say anything, Tony.
Well, you've said quite a bit, and I've said what I said when I first came in, and I mean it. I wish everybody the best for the new year. Health, strength, happiness, wealth, all that their hearts desire.
No, Tommy, I have a bombshell. Listen carefully. I have a bombshell to drop on the people of Trinidad and Tobago. Let me repeat that. I have a bombshell to drop on the people of Trinidad and Tobago.
That's only the shell, no explosives.
No explosive. I like that one. No explosive. Only the shell. I have a shell to drop on the people of Trinidad and Tobago. Right? Because I don't want this bomb to explode. This is like a tsunami, Tommy. This is a tsunami that I'm going to drop here on Trinidad and Tobago. And you know, Tommy, I was going to add, I just always add some type of value when I drop in the bombshell. But I ain't going to add no value today. And coming up on the half hour is one of the top political scientists in Trinidad and Tobago. Joining us here, Dr. Shane Mohammed.
Okay.
And I drop in the bombshell before Dr. Shane Mohammed comes. Tommy, you think I should drop the bombshell now? Or wait?
Well, you might as well, if it's hot to handle, you might as well just dispose of it once.
Dispose of it early. Don't wait.
Dispose of it.
All right. So Tommy, since Tommy, you want me to drop the bombshell early, let me drop the bombshell on people, right? And I'm going to put up a picture in order to paint a picture of the bombshell I'm going to drop. This is a bombshell. I hope the Minister of Finance listening, and I hope the representative for San Fernando East listening. This is the bombshell of all bombshell. This is the biggest bombshell for 2024 to the people of Trinidad and Tobago. It's a bombshell like no other that ever happened. Because all you know on January 1st, 2024, what is coming in Trinidad and Tobago. So let me just create the scenario for you guys. And here is the bombshell. Folks, the property tax rate in Trinidad and Tobago is 3%. Do not let anybody in Trinidad and Tobago, anyone, fool all you and tell all you this. Do not let anybody fool you and tell you that the property tax rate in Trinidad and Tobago is 2.7%. That is the bombshell of all bombshell. Property tax rate in Trinidad and Tobago based on annual rental value is 3%. So when I hear the Minister of Finance and the Minister in the Ministry of Finance, the representative for San Fernando East, coming and trying to lie and fool the people of Trinidad and Tobago and tell them that the property tax rate is 2.7% of annual rental value. And I'm going to prove it to you guys. We are going to prove it. We are going to prove it to you. Let me give you guys, firstly, and this information came from the Ministry of Finance website. Yeah? This is all on there. Let me give you guys, this is how you calculate property tax in Trinidad and Tobago. Right? You take the annual rental value, whatever it is, don't care what it is, times 10%. When you get the answer, you multiply it by 3%, which is the annual property tax rate. Very simple, right? Very simple. Take any number you want to take. So let me show you guys now the calculations. And I will show you guys what they're trying to tell you that is 2.7%. Come on the live, folks. Come on the live. I want all of you to come on the live today because I am teaching a class today. Tommy, I hope you're there with. I am taking the people of Trinidad and Tobago
let's step back a little. You said take the annual rental value times 10%, or you meant times 90%.
Times 10%. No, you take 10%, yes, of the annual rental value.
You reduce it by 10%.
You reduce it by 10%. We have it up on the screen. All you come on the live, and let me take all you through property tax 101 today. And for the government of the RPNM government to stop lying to the people. Lying. I say the lying. I say that. Tommy said that. I, Professor Wall Street, say to the government of Trinidad and Tobago, stop lying to the people. And here is the evidence. Oh, look, come on the live, you know. Come on the live. So, Tommy, here we go. Let's take the lowest annual rental value based on the chart that the government put out to the people of Trinidad and Tobago. That is $18,000. Correct?
Yes.
So kids, take out your calculator. Moms, take out your calculator. Pops, take out your calculator. Those are the maxi taxis. Wherever all you're going, if you're going up Chumaka, I don't think that maxi taxi just go up Chumaka. Wherever you are, you're going San Fernando. If you're going on the boat down to San Fernando, I don't think that is run on weekends. Wherever it is, take out your calculators. We're going in property tax 101 today. 18,000 is the lowest annual rental value. Right? Come you with me, right?
Yes, 18,000 is the lowest ARV.
Correct. We are going to take 10% of that. And this is not daily cry baby maths, eh?
Which is 1,800.
1,800. You minus that from 18,000. What will you get?
16,200.
16,200. You multiply that by 3%. What do you get?
486.
$486, right?
Correct.
That is your annual property tax.
Minimum.
Yes. And you divide that by 12 and you'll get your monthly tax. Correct?
Right.
Okay. Secondly, here is what the government is trying to tell the people of Trinidad and Tobago with a little sleight of hand. This is what they did to me. They took the same minimum ARV, which is 18,000, right?
Mm-hmm.
They multiply that by 90% times 3%. 90% times 3% is 0.027. Right?
Right.
You with me?
Or 2.7%.
Yes, 2.7%. And then they multiply that 0.027% by 18,000. Now, folks, you have to understand that they took the 18,000 annual rental value and they took the 90% of that 18 and 90% of 0.03. Right? So here it is how, by sleight of hand, they're trying to tell you that it's 0.027% or 2.7%. Right? So if you multiply 2.7 times 100, you get 0.027. Okay? Third, you can take 18,000, which is again the ARV, times 0.03, which is equal to $540, times 0.90, which is equal to $486. That's another way. Right?
Right.
So, now listen to this carefully, folks. Listen to this. If your property tax is 2.7%, this is how you will calculate it. It is 18,000, which is the annual rental value, minus 10%, which is 1,800, the same as before, right? Minus 10%, which is 1,800, equal to 16,200. If your property tax was 0.27 or 2.7%, you will multiply 16,000 times 0.027 will give you a property tax of $437.40. So if your property tax,
that's keeping the 10%
yes,
discount.
correct. The same as was on the ministry website, keeping the same 10% discount again. Instead of getting 10% discount, right? And if you multiply it by 2.7%, your property tax will be $437.40, not $486. I, Professor Wall Street, today will challenge anyone in Trinidad and Tobago to prove that the property tax is 2.7% and not 3%. And you have your calculators, right, folks? Take any number. Take 100,000 annual rental value. Take away the 10% and multiply it by 0.03%, and you see what you'll come up with. And then take the same number and take away 10% and multiply it by 2.7%, and I guarantee you wouldn't come up with the same number. So what is it? But Tommy, let me even go a little further. Here is the chart, folks. Here is the chart that shows you whatever your tax, whatever it is. If it's 36,000 annual rental value, you take away 10%, right? Now your value will be 32,400 times 3% for an annual property tax of $972 or $81 per month. This is the chart that they put out. This is it. This is it. Let me go even further, Tommy. And I want people to do this math. This is from the Minister of Finance. He says the property tax payable is in fact only 2.7% of ARV stated in the notices of valuation. And I want people to do this. He says the ARV of $60,000, Tommy, the tax payable is $1,620 per year or $135 per month. Right, Tommy?
Yep.
So, Tommy, let's go to the chart. Let's go to the chart and let's look at the chart for 60,000 ARV. It's kind of small, right? But if you go here, it's about the fifth one down, Tommy. You will see annual rental value for 60,000.
Yes.
Right? And then you see the annual taxable value, which is 10%, right? It took off 10%. It's 54,000, right?
Yes.
Times 3% will give you $1,620 annual property tax, right?
Correct.
Or a property tax per month of $135, right?
This is right.
Okay, let's go to the minister's statement. Here is the minister's statement. I not using. Here it is right there, Tommy. ARV of 60,000. The tax payable is 1,620 per year or 135 per month. What is the property tax rate there, Tommy?
He says 2.7%.
How could that be 2.7%? It's simple maths, you know, and I'm using what they put out. Right? But Tommy, we could even go to the next one. Look the 18,000 right here. He added, if a property has been assessed an ARV of 18,000, the payable is $486 or $40.50, right? Let's go to the chart, Tommy. Let's go to the chart. 18,000, right? They don't have the 18,000 on this chart. The annual rental value of 36,000. All right, Tommy, boy, you almost lose that thing there, boy. Something going on, boy, Tommy. You see, Tommy, the thing about it, I think the government of Trinidad and Tobago have to come clean and stop trying to. This, Tommy, is wicked and evil. I'm saying it.
You know, the thing is that with all the hoodwinking and bamboozlement that's going on, people aren't even paying attention. But
Correct.
eventually it will catch up with them. Eventually it will catch up with them.
It must catch up with them. And Tommy, you know what? You know what, Tommy? I am very disappointed in the opposition.
Oh boy.
Because to me, this issue here should be front and center to the opposition party in Trinidad and Tobago. And all they drop the ball on this. All they drop the ball. For them telling people property tax is 2.7%, and you know for a fact it's 3%.
But even worse, to start with residential as opposed to commercial.
Correct is right. 100%. 100%. You understand? And before we go for the break, you know who is the first people in Trinidad protesting for property tax?
Yes, the haves.
The haves. The people who can afford it the most. So the poor, disadvantaged people, always sitting down there and always saying, well, it's only $40 a month. And the rich who could afford it, them could pay any property tax. Them say, nah, all you over-assess with annual rental value.
You see, what happens is that a lot of the so-called poor, I was trying not to say poor, but you want, okay, a lot of those who are least able to afford aren't saying anything because they feel like that the impact on them is going to be minimal. But time will tell.
Correct is right.
Time will tell.
Let's go for the break. Folks, it's Sunday Talk. Let's talk politics with yours truly, Professor Wall Street and Uncle Tommy on 91.9 FM and streaming live on WZY 95.9 FM. And we also want to pass on to the Ochol Charles family condolences on the passing of his passing, and we wish the family all the best in 2024.
Condolences.
Yeah, we'll be right back.
Are you feeling the Christmas spirit? Are you feeling joy this year? Well, stay tuned to The Street 919 FM. As we take you through the Christmas season. All your favorite Christmas hits from then till now. Christmas is a vibe on The Street 919 FM.
It's beginning to sound a lot like Christmas on your radio.
When everything seemed to be gone, the worst thing to do is sit down and mourn.
Every Sunday from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. Let's talk politics on a Sunday on The Street 919 FM. Sunday Talk. Come on, people. This is a balanced program. Share the love.
So don't give up hope now. We gotta keep on trying.
Tune in to 91.9 FM and join us in the village with Dat Triplets every Monday from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. We are here to fearlessly confront important issues and engage in objective discussions on the latest trends. You can also catch our live stream on WZYE 95.9 FM, New York, New Jersey. Get informed, get inspired, get educated every Monday, 7 to 10 p.m. right here on this radio station.
Renting a car in Tobago should be quick, affordable, and easy.
Wow.
Here at Oni Rentals, we make the process as simple as possible by using our easy e-sign-up. Yep, we can sign you up from just about anywhere using our tablets. See? All done. and everything goes straight into the cloud. Yeah, you're on your way. Are you coming to Tobago? Book your car rental with us and enjoy the most affordable rates in Tobago. But hurry, because cars go pretty fast. Call 361-1042. That's 361-1042. One more time, 361-1042. O'Neill Auto Rentals, Tobago, taking you further.
The views expressed are not necessarily the views of the management of the Street 919 FM.
You listening? Listen now. Share the light. I want everybody to share the light. Downtown posse have to share the light. Uptown posse have to share the light. Share the light. Share the light. Everybody just share the light. Tobago, share the light. Attention! Well. Aye! Well. 1, 2, 3. Send out in his hands in the air. Send out in his hands in the air. Send out in his hands in the air. Oh! Send out in his hands in the air. Send out in his hands in the air. Send out in his hands in the air. Oh! Tell them we happy. Just
long as you have health and strength, reaching your goal, nothing should prevent. Every time you fall, get up again. Don't sit down there like that and complain. You got to stand up and continue fighting. Don't give up, keep courage, you must win. Don't you know, behind every dark cloud, there's a silver lining. So don't give up hope now, we gotta keep on trying. Oh Lord, we gotta keep.
And of course, we are back with you. The Sunday Talk, Let's Talk Politics on 91.9 FM and streaming live on WZYE 95.9 FM. Folks, share the live, share the live. iWatch TV on YouTube, The Street 919 FM on Facebook, The Street 919 FM on Instagram. You can reach us here at 973-868-1444. That's 973-868-1444.
973-609-6509. That's 973-609-6509. And remember, that's a free call on WhatsApp.
Thank you so much, Tommy. Thank you so much, Tommy. Tommy, before we bring in our guests, I want people to listen to this by the representative for San Fernando East. And I'm still waiting for Mr. Brian Manning to prove to the people of Trinidad and Tobago that Trinidad and Tobago have one of the lowest property tax on the hemisphere. I am still waiting for the representative for San Fernando East, Mr. Brian Manning, to prove to the people of Trinidad and Tobago that Trinidad and Tobago have one of the lowest property tax on the hemisphere. Take a listen to this.
Monthly.
Okay. So that's an easy way to break it down so that people get a clear understanding. So if the annual rental value of your property is $2,000 a month, you would end up paying $54 a month in property tax. That would seem too bad. That would seem too unfair.
Some people got scared when they saw the annual rental value and the valuation form, but that is not what you're going to be paying in taxes. This is one of the lowest property tax rates in the hemisphere. And it was...
So folks, here it is. The minister in the Ministry of Finance told the people of Trinidad and Tobago that the 3% property tax in Trinidad and Tobago is one of the lowest in the hemisphere. I don't know which hemisphere Mr. Brian Manning living on, but all you know there is east, west, north, and south. Maybe he must be living in the southeast hemisphere. And that is where he get his numbers from. But so far, he has been unable to prove that lie. I said it, that Trinidad and Tobago have one of the lowest property tax in the hemisphere. Let me bring in our guest. Our esteemed guest, the man himself, Dr. Shane. Dr. Shane, Mom, this is your maiden voyage on Sunday Talk, Let's Talk Politics on 91.9 FM and streaming live on WZY 95.9 FM. Welcome.
Thank you so very much. It is indeed my first time here. I have been here with you on another place. And interestingly enough, it is the last day of 2023. No better way to end it than to be on the show with you all and to have this discussion with you all for Trinidad and Tobago to participate in.
Okay, so hold 1 minute. Let's take a call. Caller, welcome.
Yeah, good day, and a prosperous new year to be soon.
Yes.
You hear me?
We hearing you. Go ahead.
Good. I want to pay tribute to a good friend of mine. May his soul rest in peace. That is Terry Randon. Was a man, was a down-to-earth man. He never follow party when you go and ask for work or anything, but he here to assist you. He never asks you anything. He is there will help. And a new one who is like Terry Randon is Kenwin Phillip, a very good man also. He assists any children home for the Christmas, give us hampers to share out for the poor. Even though I asked you and you refuse to give. But it's okay, but you rather bet, big bet. It's okay. Okay, partner, enjoy your coming new year.
Thank you, man.
I'm listening to you.
All right, cool. Yeah. So Dr. Mohammed, first of all, right? The question is the annual, is the property tax in Trinidad 3% or 2.7%? Because all the calculations that I have made shows that the property tax is 3%. And even based on statements made by the Minister of Finance, Colin Bud, to know that why are they trying to, I don't want to say hoodwink people, no? Why are they trying to make people feel that all of a sudden, since Trinidad is one of the highest property tax in the Caribbean and in the Western Hemisphere, why are they trying to hoodwink people and tell them it's 2.7%?
Well, there was some discussion that took place regarding something about a 10% discount or something like that. And when you take that 10% discount, and you minus the 10% from the lowest rental value that is on the chart, which is 18,000, you come up with $16,200. And then if you multiply that by 2.7%, you'd get $486, I believe. But if you still
No.
take the 18,000,
No. Wait, Dr. Mohammed. If you multiply that figure by 2.7, you will come up with a figure that is, let me put it up on the screen for you. You'll come up with a figure that's based on the 2 point, if you multiply it by 3%, that's what you'll come up with. But look at here on the screen, right?
Right.
Here it is, the 18,000, right? It's on the screen.
So if you get the 18,000 and you multiply it by 10%, you minus 10% is 1,800. Then you get 16,200 and you multiply that by 3%, you will get $486, right?
Correct.
And then if you take the original 18,000 and you multiply it by 3%, you will still get $486. So it is one and the same.
No, you meant 18,000 by 2.7%.
Sorry, by 2.7%. So let's just say if you apply the 10% or don't apply the 10%, and whether you use 3% or 2.7%, you still end up with the same amount, which is $486. The question then arises is, one, is the 10% relevant? And two, which Tommy just asked, whether it is 3% or 2.7%. And therefore, one should, any one of those ministers that are involved in this whole property tax implementation should really be very clariantly clear on what is the 10% relevant? And if the 10% is not relevant, then it is 3%. If the 10% is relevant, they need to prove how. Because then if the 10% is relevant, you shouldn't be multiplying 16,000 by 16,200 by 2.7%. It should really be by 3%. You understand?
And right, and exactly, because this is what they have told the people of Trinidad and Tobago is 18,000 times 90% of 3%, which is 0.027.
Right.
You understand?
And
taking
so therefore,
90%.
So is this making sense? It's not making. The maths is not mathsing.
The maths not mathsing. That's all I'm saying. Oh, and Dr. Mohammed is simple.
You see, my issue here as well is that the property tax in Trinidad and Tobago, you cannot take a framework that exists in another country let's just simply say Barbados, or Grenada, St. Lucia, or Antigua. Let's take three. Let's take Barbados, the Bahamas, and Antigua. 3 tourism-based countries. You can take rental value and use it in Trinidad and Tobago because it is not really in our culture in Trinidad and Tobago for persons to use their homes as a regular Airbnb or bed and breakfast, and that sort of thing. We are not there yet in terms of tourism base. We have to take into consideration as well that because we are the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, you can't have one property tax, a scheme or system for Trinidad and another for Tobago. Therefore, it has to be one. And if it is that the government has decided to go along with the annual rental value, then it is also that you are basing this strictly on a system and a social construct and a cultural framework that is based heavily on tourism. And you have to take into consideration that the islands, Jamaica, Barbados, Grenada, Antigua, Bahamas, the islands are relatively small, and the distance between homes and the closest beaches and recreational area and sightseeing and all of that places are very, very, very within either walking distance or a small taxi distance. And therefore, it is conducive for movement of, and safe, I have to say the word safe movement of tourists. That does not exist in Trinidad. And as of the 14th murder that took place in Tobago, I can safely say we have to be very careful in Tobago as well. So we cannot just simply take one system and apply it across the board because it works in Barbados and it works in Grenada and it works in St. Lucia and it works in Antigua and it works in the Bahamas. It means that it's going to work here. They have twice as many aircraft and cruise ships calling at ports in Barbados, in Grenada, in St. Lucia, and definitely in the Bahamas, and far more tourists coming to those islands than Trinidad and Tobago. Let's be real. So to use annual rental value in a country where there are homes that will never be rented, our culture has been in the absence of having a robust tourism industry, that if you have to lock up your house and go away, you do that. If you have to sell your house and go away, you do that. If you have to renting a home in Trinidad and Tobago, in some instances, are at the bottom of the barrel of choices for the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. So let us be real. So why is it that the government has not effectively justified why they have chosen to use annual rental value as compared to a valuation of the property and then tax the property accordingly?
But Dr. Mohammed, all right, let's say you are going to use annual rental value, right? Let me give them the benefit of the doubt. At least do a study and see what other Caribbean islands are charging for property tax based on annual rental value, at least. But when you are one of the highest, the highest of the Caribbean islands, where other Caribbean islands are charging 0.5, not even 1%, 0.5 for property tax based on annual rental value. Anyway, let me just say that because you're on the program. This government, this wicked and evil government, I saying it, this wicked and evil government going and tax a poor person 3%. The same as Prime Minister Rowley. The same as Faris Al-Wari. The same as Col Imbert. The same as Rowan Sinana. Them fellas can afford that. And you telling me a poor person who have a little shack, a 2x4 shack, you're going to charge them 3% property tax. And that is not wicked and evil? I said it. You rather agree with that?
Well, the question arises is that there has to be a bracket of people, whether we like it or not, there has to be a bracket of people that falls into the category that exempts them from having to pay property tax. Because, and this is not me making out, I am making it very clear. This is not me making these people a target now to the government, which they may very well be, but it will then show where the compassion is in the government. But what about persons who don't have certificates of comfort on lands that they don't own and lands that they are squatting on? You can't tax those people. You can't tax persons who are renting from the HDC. You can't tax them. So that's a segment of the society that is exempted automatically, right? You can't. So those are two categories of persons that are not going to be able to be taxed. But on top of that, why are you taxing Trinidadians and Tobagonians based on an annual rental value that will never exist? There are people who are living in Granby, who are living in the rural areas of Trinidad, to Tableland and Maruga and Princestown, in Paro and whatnot, in Separia, in you name it, right? They are not going to be, they're going to be persons, even in St. Augustine or even on the East-West Corridor in Tunapuna. There are people who will never rent their homes. There are people in West Morin, there are people in Goodwood Park, there are people in Caranage, there are people in Diego Martin, there are people in Tobago, will never rent their homes. That is not what they built their homes for. They will not even rent a room. And we have to take into consideration the reality of the situation is that people are very cautious as to who they rent homes to, their homes to, and who they open up their yards and their garages and their security to. So therefore, the government has not looked at the social construct of the entire country and has not looked at all of the facets that are contributing to our society and which is causing our society to go in a particular direction. You cannot curb crime. Within the last couple of days, the U.S. Embassy has put out a serious bulletin about St. Augustine and environs. You have kidnapping. A kidnapping has taken place in the last 48 hours or more. Nobody has said anything about it. The Commissioner of Police has not put out any information about this thing. When I'm sorry to say that when Gary Griffith was outside there and was Commissioner of Police, country knew exactly what was happening. They got a status report. And then you will tell me this is a matter of intelligence. How the hell could it be intelligence if it is that country is and then the Prime Minister comes on Friday, I believe, and makes a statement about crime and criminality and the need for citizens to come forward. Citizens to come forward when there are people who are in blue lights and who are in tactical gear that are abducting citizens of this country. What is happening in this country is completely a disintegration of our national security apparatus. So, and then you want to talk about rental value, when the reality is people will think 3, 4, and 5 times before they decide to even rent a room, because you can be renting a room and next thing you know, you have a meth lab taking place inside of your house, on your property. That is the reality of what is going on in the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. And for us to sit down here and for us to sit down here and have a discussion and have all of Trinidad and Tobago listening, right? And simply for anybody in their right conscience to sit and be a part of a discussion and say, yes, I agree with annual rental value, they have clearly not taken into consideration our sociological framework.
Dr. Mohammed, where is the opposition in this?
Tommy, hold on a minute. We got to go for the break. So, folks, we got to go for the break. We're going to go for a quick break. Tommy, hold that thought until we come back. It's Sunday Talk, Let's Talk Politics with Uncle Tommy and Professor on 91.9 FM. And we have with us today political scientist Dr. Shane Mohammed. We'll be right back after this break.
Are you feeling the Christmas spirit? Are you feeling joy this year? Well, stay tuned to The Street 919 FM. As we take you through the Christmas season. All your favorite Christmas hits from then till now. Christmas is a vibe on The Street 919 FM.
It's beginning to sound a lot like Christmas on your radio.
When everything seemed to be gone, the worst thing to do is sit down and mourn.
Every Sunday from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. Let's talk politics on a Sunday on The Street 919 FM. Sunday Talk. Come on, people. This is a balanced program. Share the love.
So don't give up hope now. We gotta keep on trying.
Tune in to 91.9 FM and join us in the village with Dat Triplets every Monday from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. We are here to fearlessly confront important issues and engage in objective discussions on the latest trends. You could also catch our live stream on WZYE 95.9 FM, New York, New Jersey. Get informed, get inspired, get educated every Monday, 7 to 10 p.m. right here on this radio station.
Renting a car in Tobago should be quick, affordable, and easy. Wow. Here at Oni Rentals, we make the process as simple as possible by using our easy e-sign-up. Yep, we can sign you up from just about anywhere using our tablets. See? All done. And everything goes straight into the cloud. Yeah, you're on your way. Are you coming to Tobago? Book your car rental with us and enjoy the most affordable rates in Tobago. But hurry, because cars go pretty fast. Call 361-1042. That's 361-1042. One more time, 361-1042. O'Neill Auto Rentals, Tobago, taking you further.
The views expressed are not necessarily the views of the management of The Street 919 FM.
Listen up. Share the life. I want everybody share the life. Downtown Posse, I feel share the life. Uptown Posse, I feel share the life. Share the life. Everybody just share the life. Tobago, share the life. Attention! Well. Aye! Well. 1, 2, 9. Send them in his hands in the air. Send them in his hands in the air. Send them in his hands in the air. Go! Send them in his hands in the air. Send them in his hands in the air. Send them in his hands in the air. Go! Tell them we
Temptation gets the better of you and make you do things you should never do. You got to keep the faith, you can't surrender. You never know, tomorrow may be brighter. Behind every dark cloud, there's a silver lining. So don't give up hope now. We gotta keep on trying.
And of course, we are back with you. It's Sunday Talk. Let's talk politics with yours truly, Uncle Tommy. With yours truly, Professor Walshall, Uncle Tommy, on 91.9 FM and streaming live on WZY 95.9 FM. Folks, share the live, iWatch TV on YouTube, the Street 919 FM on Facebook, the Street 919 FM on Instagram. And you can reach us here at 973-868-1444. That's 973-868-1444.
And at 973-609-6509. That's 973-609-6509. And remember, that's free on WhatsApp.
And remember, folks, at the top of the hour, we go over to WZYE TV on YouTube and WZYE 95.9 FM on Facebook. And of course, we'll stay live on WZYE 95.9 FM in the diaspora. So, welcome back, Dr. Mohammed. Tommy, go ahead and ask the question you wanted to ask.
Dr. Mohammed, what I was asking you before the break was, we all recognize that this system that is being foisted upon the nation is questionable. What about those in the opposition? Have they recognized anything that seemed not so right with what we are talking about?
Well, the thing about it is that there's a narrative. There's a narrative outside, emanating out of the UNC and the opposition, that if they were to return into to office in 2025, they would have no property tax. Now, in my humble opinion, that's a very lame duck, very low, the lowest hanging fruit on the tree to pick. And you can't have a policy that you would just simply have no property tax.
Caller, hold on.
It is, and I see that JB has spoken about the government, the opposition warning the country about the inheritance tax. And the inheritance tax, if my knowledge of what the inheritance tax, proposed inheritance tax, or perceived, I should say, inheritance tax that is being spoken about, is something very similar to what exists in Canada. However, the inheritance tax and the property tax are two separate taxes. And there has been no mention, formal mention, to be fair to the government and to be fair to Mr. Ibbett, there has been no indication of an intention to implement an inheritance tax, which in itself would be an absolute reason for every single citizen, rich, poor, or indifferent, to vote against the administration and vote for another party, right? But we're talking here about the property tax, and the position of the opposition continues to be the same old, that they would not have a property tax. And they seem to have lost connection and understanding that Trinidad and Tobagonians are not concerned about paying a property tax. Nobody said, I've not heard a single person say that, thank you, build a tree house, they will come and tax the tree house joy. Nobody said that they are opposed to paying property tax. What the country is concerned and confused about is about the implementation of the tax and the intention to tax people on a perceived probability rather than a reality. And this is not, there's no need to overcomplicate the thing. overcomplicating it is, what about those persons who are educated enough and but retired? So they are living in retirement and they enjoy retirement. It may be a wife alone, it may be a husband alone, it may be a husband and wife alone, that their children are outside of the country. They travel and they go and have, like right now, they're in the season, so they have gone out and they've locked up their house, they've put in the security system, and they've asked the neighbor to just keep an eye on the property, and they've gone out to New York or New Jersey or to Toronto, to Miami, to Orlando, to London, wherever, to enjoy a holiday with their children. I know of those persons. But when they come back, their concern is now that they have to do this calculation of a perceived rental value, proposed, probable. The word is probable. A probable rental value. And now they have to, the government is telling the citizens that if your house is worth X or Y dollars, this is the formula that we've come up with, that this is your minimal value that you would rent your house or property for. That, in my opinion, is very dictatorial and authoritarian. That is putting directly the government putting their hand in the affairs of the public and directing them, not advising, not discussing, but directing and telling them that this is what we've come up with, and this is the value based on what your property is worth. And as a result of what we have come up with, this is what you are going to possibly charge. When in truth and in fact, a room in a 3-bedroom house, that we say an extra room in a downstairs, that has just a room and a toilet and bath, nothing else, may cost somebody nothing more than 500, 15, depending on where you're living, 500, 1,000, 1,200. You are telling them that the possibility of renting the whole house is going to be $18,000. Telling, directing that it is going to be $18,000. That is authoritarianism. That is dictatorship to the highest level. When you are telling people what the cost of their property is going to be, when you are telling people that this is what it's going to cost, you can't do that. Not in a democratic society. And you cannot direct people to rent something, to possibly rent something, and to possibly look at what their possible rental value would be when it's not even a thought in their mind. Anybody will tell you. And so therefore the opposition has not come up with a plan, nor a valid alternative, except to say that there would be no property tax. When in truth and in fact, Trinidad and Tobago, prior to 2009, when this whole idea of property tax came into the discussion, right? And the COP launched the campaign of Axe the Tax. It was simply because they were against the proposed mechanisms and formula that was used by the previous administration at that time to tax people's property. And therefore, it's the same thing that applies here. You cannot tax people based on what you want them to do. That is you directing people in a particular direction. You are telling them that if they don't do X, Y is going to happen to them. That if they don't act, there's going to be a consequence. But you are act on not something that is has been discussed or not something that has been conversed properly. There's no discussion here. This is what it is. This is what you're required to do. And if you don't do it, this is what is going to happen. What does that sound like?
You know, go ahead, Tom, you wanted to say something?
No. Go ahead, Doctor.
No, Dr. Mohammed, I believe that not only is it dictatorial, but I believe this property tax is regressive and oppressive. Okay? And the reason why I'm saying that is because it's unfair across the board for everybody to pay 3%. Secondly, Dr. Mohammed, the property tax of 3% in Trinidad is one of the highest in the Caribbean. If you compare, for example, just take Jamaica, take Barbados, take St. Lucia, take St. Vincent, and I want to say to the Minister in the Ministry of Finance, Brian Manning, please, sir, please do a little homework. Do a little research now, man. You understand? Do a little research. When you come out and you say Trinidad is one of the lowest tax in the hemisphere, that means the whole hemisphere. Then you change it to the Western Caribbean. Well, the Caribbean, see, is in the Western Hemisphere. And it includes all the other Caribbean countries. All of them. That have a lower property tax than Trinidad and Tobago. So, I mean, why the deception? Why? Dr. May, you can tell us because you are...
Well, yeah. You have to be fair. Yeah, well, you have to be fair here, right?
Yeah.
And I don't put words in my mouth. And I am not going to put it now. The reality is that Mr. Manning, because of his name, is going to be made to be the bad cop in this whole narrative.
Make what? Say that again.
He's under collective. He's going to be the bad cop.
Okay.
He's the bad cop, right? And he is under collective ministerial responsibility. He is a minister of, he is not in the cabinet. He doesn't have a ministerial portfolio, cabinet ministerial responsibility, but he has ministerial responsibility as part of the government. And even if he doesn't like it, because of his portfolio in the ministry, unless he wishes to lose his portfolio in the Ministry of Finance, which is going to not sit well with a lot of people, he has to do what he has to do. And
so he has to go along to get along?
He has to go along to be able to survive.
Oh, wow.
That's the sad reality.
Wow. So he's on survival road then?
He has to be.
Wow. But can you just get the facts right though? Even if you're on survival road, you could still get the facts right.
No, you can't.
No?
Get the facts right. If you start a narrative, you can't change it. That's not how politics works, my friend.
Oh, yeah.
When you've started a narrative, you have to stick to your narrative, because to change your narrative halfway through the narrative would make you look like a what?
Even though it's untrue.
An absolute and complete fool.
Even
there are
if
many
it's
things that the government says that is untrue. You know how many things that comes out of Fitzgerald Hines' mouth that irritates every single member of this society? The fact that Fitzgerald Hines is one of the most arrogant and most aggressive and most underperforming ministers in this country will ever see, but still continues to hold one of the most critical portfolios in this country and holds the lives of every single citizen, non-citizen, resident, and visitor to this country, and does not give a rat's you know what, and does not want to speak to journalists, and does not have respect for persons, and talks to people as if they're beneath him. And it's unfortunate that Fitzgerald Hines could behave in such a manner, but that's what the Prime Minister has hoisted upon us in his wisdom.
But I don't want to change. I don't want to go from property tax, but I want to ask you a question. On a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being the worst and 1 being excellent, what ranking will you give Fitzgerald Hines?
Minus 11.
What? What?
Minus 11. Fitzgerald Hines epitomizes every single reason why he was never a full-blown minister in the governments of Patrick Manning. Fitzgerald Hines has demonstrated to the entire country, whether smart or unsmart, why it is, in his wisdom, Patrick Augustus Mervyn Manning never appointed him as a full-blown cabinet minister, and he had always been a junior minister and a minister in the ministry of. And it is clearly because leaders like Patrick Manning and Basir Pandey assessed thoroughly the characteristics of every single member of parliament and senator that they appointed to that house behind me, and ascertain what were their strengths and weaknesses. And it is very clear, crystal clariantly clear, that Mr. Manning knew exactly why Fitzgerald Hines was never a minister of his government. And I make no apologies for that.
Well, Dr. Mohammed, I'm glad.
And I'll add one more. You know what is the sad part?
Yeah.
As much as Dr. Rowley, I go on to say that I always say, one of the strengths of Dr. Rowley as a leader is what you see is what you get. There's no pretense there. Whether you like it or not, whether you like him or not, what you see is what you get. He doesn't pretend to be somebody he's not, as opposed to other leaders. However, one of the greatest weaknesses where he does not compare at all, and it shows that he cannot compare to Mr. Manning, is that in the selection of ministers of government, he has really dipped at the bottom of the barrel and took out the dregs and appointed them ministers and handed them to Trinidad and Tobago. A bunch of perpetual thinkers. They are. They're full of ideas and thoughts, but very few of them, not even 10% of them, could begin to start to put an implementation plan in place. And that is what exists in the administration of Trinidad and Tobago's government.
Dr. Mohammed, you have thrown almost the whole European government under the PTSC bus, and a wrecker come behind it.
More than just the PTSC bus, I'll also add the envisioned rapid rail that they had in their brain at one point in time.
You know, Dr. Mohammed, is interesting, that when I make this analogy with respect to MP Fitzgerald Hines, and we're going to get back to property tax, MP Fitzgerald Hines, you know what they'll say to me? I don't like Fitzgerald Hines. Or I make an analysis with respect to the Prime Minister. For example, Dr. Mohammed, I have stated that Prime Minister Rowley is a transactional leader as opposed to a transformational leader. Do you agree or disagree?
I 100% agree with that.
There we go.
He's also a very reactive leader.
Well, this whole government is a reactionary government rather than a proactive government. Let me ask you a next quick question.
I wouldn't say the whole government. There are certain members of the government. There are certain members of the government, I will say, no, they're not. There are certain members of the government that has been handed portfolios that, and strategically so, to keep them where they are, that they will not be as transformational as their full potential allows them, because Dr. Rowley doesn't want any threats to his prime ministership at this point in time. And he wants to be able to, like a dictator, like authoritarian leaders do, not dictators. I will not repeat Kamala Prasad's as authoritarian leaders do. He wants to be able to appoint who he believes is best to succeed him. I don't believe the PNI will allow that.
Well, when I say I am saying that most of them are reactionary.
Most of them.
Most of them. Not, but it's larger than 60%. I'll put it that way.
Well, I said only 10%, right?
But let me ask you
I said
question.
Only 10. I said clearly only 10, about 10% of them are few, which is good. The men that are capable of doing something for Trinidad and Tobago. Only 10%.
Well, I mean, so I can give you an example. If I had to
Don't call names. We can't call names, right? We're going to be putting ministers in jeopardy. I've learned that from
I'm not calling no names. Could I call a ministry?
No, don't either.
Don't call. All right.
Because then you're going to associate the minister.
All right, I ain't gonna call no ministry.
What we do need is a valid shakeup and a valid shakeup of what currently exists. But JP, you have to understand that Cummings is also very much enthusiastic. He's so enthusiastic, it's funny. He's very enthusiastic about becoming the next leader of the PNI.
So let's take this call. Let's take this call. Hello, caller. Welcome. Welcome to Sunday Talk. Let's talk politics.
Yes, Mr. Anselm Lobo, welcome to you. Good afternoon to you and Mr. Tommy on the street.
Good afternoon.
95.5.
As well as Dr. Shane Mohammed.
Yes, I know him well. Mr. Anselm, I must say, this last day of the year, I am very, very disappointed in you.
Okay.
And let me state why. When you first started this program, you and Mr. Tommy used to play a clipping at the beginning. And you had assured the listenership, whether small or wide, foreign and local, that your program was going to be balanced. Isn't that what you stated?
And we still follow that mantra that it's balanced.
Okay. Now, I am listening this program today, this last day of the year. You brought on Mr. Mohammed.
Dr. Shane Mohammed.
Who, I will say Mr. Mohammed.
No, Kathy, hold on, Kathy. No, Kathy. No, Kathy. Hold 1 minute. One thing we hold.
Kathy, this is Miss Joe.
Okay, Miss Joe Field. I apologize. Miss Joe Field.
Yes.
Miss Joe Field.
Yes,
in this program, we respect everyone, and it is Dr. Shane Mohammed, and we respect. If you respect and call him, no, I don't want you to say that. That's what he is.
He is Dr. Mohammed, right? That is
Correct.
Why he's on your program.
Correct. Yes.
Well, I will say Dr. Mohammed as what?
No,
a
just
political scientist.
No, just Dr. Mohammed. That's
Dr.
good enough.
Mohammed / UNC former internal relation officer / UNC affiliate. That okay for you?
Okay.
Is that okay for you? Okay, that is how I know him as.
Okay.
Right. He is there today, and I'm listening his contribution. We are to enjoy freedom of speech, but to me, it is unfair as a citizen to be listening what he's saying and accusing this government, right, of certain things. I'm not talking about the property tax, of certain things with its political leader and its cabinet ministers and ministers, and he is not comparing it, right, to the opposition leader, who is also part of this government in Trinidad and Tobago,
because I have not gotten a chance to start. I have not gotten a chance, Kathy. Hold on. You and I know very well that I have not started to go down the road of starting to talk about the opposition. And you know very well that my position on the opposition is that they are extremely incompetent.
I am talking to the host. I am not speaking to you.
Yes, but I'm also a guest on the show, Kathy. Kathy, I have the utmost respect for you. If I saw you on the street,
Kathy.
If I saw you on the street, Kathy, I will not pass the street because I am fully well aware. I am fully well aware that you are also a former UNC affiliate.
Kathy, if we are not going to, if we are not going to be respectful, we're going to have to end the discussion. I'm being honest with you. If you are,
I am calling and making my contribution.
Okay, so then make your contribution. Dr. Mohammed, let him make a contribution. All right, make a contribution and then he will answer.
Right?
Go ahead, off air. Go ahead. Make
you
a contribution.
You don't have to answer me. I am calling and stating what I have been listening to.
Okay, go ahead.
You are making allegation, you are making statement against this current leadership.
Yes.
This current government and the leadership and certain ministers, make it balance, because when the people partnership was there was same thing, and currently he is saying that the prime minister makes certain selection of things, and some of the selection of cabinet or senators is not fit for there. In my own term, likewise the opposition leader.
All right.
Because I
Okay.
start with Anand Roberts.
All right.
Others.
So let Kathy.
Of those on the opposition side.
I agree.
So Kathy, let him answer. Let him answer. Okay. Let him answer. Listen and let him answer. Go ahead, Dr. Mohammed. That wasn't really the discussion.
I'm in agreement with her, you know. I have no fight. But I am. She did not give me a chance. She's not paying attention to what I said when we were talking about property tax. I said that this opposition is ineffective and they have no plan. They have absolutely no plan in place, and they are looking for the low-hanging fruit of saying no property tax. You cannot just simply say no property tax, and the government not the government, the people of Trinidad and Tobago is not opposed to property tax. They are opposed to the system that is applied to property tax, and therefore the opposition has no plan. That's the first statement I would say to her. The second thing is, I have said ad nauseum, I have said it over and over and over, but for her benefit, I will say it again. I am absolutely and totally not in support of the actions, the behavior, the language, the narrative, the discussion, and the garbage that comes out of the mouths of the members of the opposition. Firstly, headed by the opposition leader.
Hold on.
And I'm fully well aware of the way Cathy was treated by the People's Partnership, and I think it is very unfair. I'm very, very well aware as well the way she has been spoken to, and I saw recently how she was treated by a member of Parliament from the opposition, and I don't accept that, and I don't agree with it as well. So for her to say that I am unbalanced is unfair to me because she's not given me a chance to speak about the opposition. And if she wants me to talk about the opposition, I will go a step further to say that the opposition is inept, incapable, and too internally divided to even begin to start to construct themselves in a meaningful manner that puts them as an alternative to the PNM. And that is why I will go on to say that if something is not done worthwhile, with proper analysis, with real and patriotic hearts and minds, then we are doomed to have another PNM administration by default in office in 2025. And I hope that serves her well and does enough.
Yeah, caller, welcome. Well,
yes, welcome. Are you hearing me?
We'll hear you loud and clear.
All right, so just bear with me, chime in and listen intently to the program. I want to first of all say all the best to everyone on 91.9 and WYZE, Dr. Mohammed,
WZYE,
Professor Wall Street, and everyone. But I want to be careful with what I'm saying because having been working in finance and living in New York, and I am going to be affected because I'm going to, as of January, I'm going to have to pay property taxes in Trinidad and Tobago. But I have to say, as a person who has worked in Wall Street just like you for more than 30 years and has dealt with property taxes, I have said, and I said it before, what is the underlying reason why this whole hullabaloo with Mr. Manning and Mr. Imbert is being promulgated at this hour? It is because of the fact that the government of Trinidad and Tobago is instituting a regressive as against a progressive tax system. And I want to focus on that. I heard Dr. Mohammed talk about whether it should be ARV and it should be another methodology. The fact is, Mr. Imbert and Mr. Manning do not understand the concept of what is called real or nominal, real versus nominal. What is a nominal tax? It's just a tax rate. The effective rate, Mr. Imbert, by implying it was 2.7%, and Mr. Manning saying that it's the lowest tax rate. It doesn't matter if you use an ARV or you use a different methodology. You have to look at what people will pay. And I'm going to get straight to the point. The problem that is focused on Trinidad and Tobago, if you look at the price of oil and gas, the energy prices that Mr. Imbert has always over-forecasted, plus the production levels are lower. So what is going to be happening over the next couple of years is that we're going to have to start raising revenue, and it's going to be transferred to the people of Trinidad and Tobago who could least afford it. And this is what this regressive property tax is doing. The solutions are very simple. You need to possibly look at coming up with a scaled property tax, which, for example, if you use 0.5%, the person who's using $18,000 a month to $18,000 a year will be paying $75 a month as opposed to $135 a month. The fact is, you need to also look at commercial property tax and industrial property tax. You have to start with those revenue base, which is going into the consolidated fund and which has not been assessed. Proman, which is a company that just got the methanol company shares from the government of Trinidad and Tobago, is not going to be paying any property tax. How could that be factual and correct? Also, if you have people who have 10 and 15 and 20 and 30 properties and they are not their first property, how could they be paying 3%? So I want to end with this. The fact is, whether you use ARV or you use a different methodology, you have to look at effective. Mr. Manning, I'm saying this again, Mr. Manning nor Mr. Imbert conflates or doesn't understand it, and that's the start point. The revenue, there's something called a debt by 1,000 cuts. When you have interest rates at 3.75% and people happen to go into property speculation, even though proposed rental values are not there, that tells you something. People are going to benefit from that. When you have water rates going to increase, when you're going to have electricity rates going to come up, when you look at the inflation, core inflation, gasoline prices have fallen. Here in New York, it's going down, but in Trinidad, it's still high, and they pay for super. There's no regular gasoline. Those are the facts that people have to understand. And if Mr. Manning nor Mr. Rowley and Mr. Imbert understand that the fact is you need to have what is called equity. Equitable. Nobody is saying whatever methodology you use is incorrect. But the fact is, at this point in time, a lot of Trinidadians cannot afford it. Cannot afford it. I could afford it. I have to find the money because I'm living in U.S. But if I could afford it, then come Imbert or Kamla Bissessa Prasad or the Sabgas or the Mutez who have 130 properties or whatever, they could afford it too. Not those people in Fairways who are complaining. The person in Lafontaine, the pensioner who got their property from, for example, from their parents and living on a fixed income. The problem here is equity, equitableness. And that's what we have to focus on.
All right, man.
That's what they don't want to tell you. So
thank you very much.
Leave you with
all right.
Well, you have a good afternoon.
Thank you.
And all the best for the season. Well done, Professor Wall Street.
Yeah, man.
Everyone. Thank
you. Yeah. I mean, he have put a lot of things.
Very
right. And Dr. Mohammed, think about this, right? The government sold the methanol plant. What about procurement? What was that? Procurement was involved in that, Dr. Mohammed? Help me now.
Well, I would have procurement would require that they require that they put out a request for proposal to purchase.
So they didn't have that in that situation?
That they would advertise the sale of the methanol plant, and then they would ask for bidders. Is the same concept that they are doing with regard to the refinery. It's the same concept. It's a state entity.
So there was no procurement in that.
Because they had a preferred bidder or a preferred buyer.
Dr. Mohammed, that kind of smile, that kind of sideways smile you're getting really. You know, let me take this call. Hello, caller, welcome.
Wall Street, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon.
And good afternoon to you, Uncle Tony. And to
good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you.
Yes.
Trinidad and Tobago,
good afternoon.
I think that lady shouldn't have that time to be rude to Dr. Mohammed.
COP, listen. I could tell you one thing, Dr. Mohammed could handle his stories,
Yeah.
I not say that for him, but I know he could handle his story. He have been here many times. This is the first time he's on 91.9, but he could handle his story. Go ahead, make your contribution.
Well, I as a listener, I explain, I see she's supposed to call back and apologize because Dr. Shane Mohammed not even supporting Kamala's leader of the United National Congress. I wonder how she feels over there now. She political party. She called to defend Dr. Rowley, who bringing harsh laws on us over here. And something I want to ask about this property tax. When Trinidadians saying all over the world they're paying property tax, the end is them European countries and the US and them. I want to ask Dr. Shane Mohammed, our constitution and the US constitution or the US laws is the same thing. I could understand Barbados and all these other Caribbean islands paying property tax because them under the French laws, them under European laws. Trinidad and Tobago under European laws or the introducing those laws by property tax because we are custom paying land and building tax. and you introducing property tax now one way. What European countries paying? What I don't understand that part at all. I think we supposed the Caribbean people them who not under them laws should be continue paying with property tax. But why should we support our government saying, hey, you have to pay property tax, you have to pay higher rate, you have to everything you have to pay, and leave out the government who saying, hey, you don't have to pay no property tax, because that's what the UNC telling me. You don't have to pay no property tax. This country have enough resources for you to benefit and for you to live comfortable without paying them high taxes on them. Which one's who's smarter? I feel the smart man will say, no, I don't want to pay no property tax. I want to save that. I want to save that $10,000 every 10 years for my children future. The PNM man saying, no, I don't have to $10,000, but I go hustle it and give it. Because when you look in the PNM constituency and in all them HCC building and them, they own $1.8 billion and they're paying $100 a month. So you can't pay $100 a month for your home, but you go pay property tax.
Thank you.
Something really wrong with Trinidadians.
Yeah, man.
Thank you. That lady should call and apologize to Dr. Shane Mohammed. Young, ambitious doctor, she's trying to disrespect her. You should defend him more, defend them more, Wall Street.
But listen to this, Listen to this, I can say this. This is the first time Dr. Shane Mohammed is on 91.9, but he is a regular here at WZY 95.9 FM. And I am surprised that Kathy haven't heard you, Dr. Mohammed, with respect to the criticism that you have laid on the UNC. You know what I mean? So, I mean, that was truly unfair and out of timing, so to speak. You know, because you have been very balanced. You have criticized the PNM.
You know, I'll tell you this. No, listen to me. Listen. Let me tell you this. I know Kathy. I know Kathy Jofield very well. I know what she has endured. I know Kathy Jofield has been treated very badly and very
hold on.
Congress of the Partnership. I know Kathy Jofield wants to talk about how I was a former, let me get it right, I was a former international relations officer of the UNC. That's not a secret. I'm a former government senator temporarily. That's not a secret. But she's also a former UNC older woman in the covert Tabaki Telpa Regional Corporation. And one that got the poor end of the stick when it came to her association with the UNC and her affiliation with the UNC. She has chosen her political path, and she has chosen to be a voice for the People's National Movement, and that is her right. What is not her right is to behave as though she can paint everybody who associated at one point in time with the United National Congress with one brush. That's absolutely unfair. It also does not do her any justice. It doesn't do her and give her any credibility to treat everybody with the same brush. And the fact remains is that whether she decides to call me Mr. Mohammed or Dr. Mohammed or whatever she wants to call me, the fact remains that I'm not a fan of Mrs. Prasad Visasa, nor am I a fan of the government of Trinidad and Tobago, particularly the leadership of Dr. Rowley. In fact, they are both two sides of the same coin.
Yeah. Caller,
that's what they are.
Caller, are you there?
Good afternoon.
Yes, caller, welcome.
Good afternoon to the panel.
Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon.
91.9 family.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, I don't wish, but I hope and pray that the citizenry especially would have a better 2024. I want to say thanks to Kathy. I want to say thanks. I don't know who this Kathy is. I don't know who Dr. Mohammed is. But after listening to the program and hearing about the taxation and the property tax and so on, and then all of a sudden I see that illegal turn into a sign that said no entry. I just couldn't understand. And then, bam, the sign of Kathy came along and everything was cleared up. Everything was cleared up. Now listen, we would have been talking something different today had the UNC won the election. The difference we would have been talking, it might have been how much, not if. Because I want to believe by now we would have had the property tax, and the discussion might have been on how much or what method that was used. But for some reason, the citizenry of Trinidad and Tobago decided against the UNC and they went with the PNM. And the opportunity will come again for the citizenry to decide who they will be going with, if it's UNC, if it's PNM, or if it's somebody else. In my mind, I have an idea who it will be, but that will left to be seen. And I am saying, really, a tax of less than $700 a year for property that belongs to you, you really go kick and scream and pull out here and walk the white line for? I'll leave that there. The other thing and last, I think we've reached the stage where, you see, us who have parents, their properties and so on, they've retired, they've come to that old age place. Pension ain't really enough to cut everything, but I'm sure it helps a lot. And I'm saying that I believe that we should step in as sons and daughters and in-laws and grands and say, Mommy, Daddy, hear what? I want to take care of your utility bills. I want to take care of this. I want to take care of that as a kind of gift back to our parents. I am sure that there are persons who are doing that already. It happened in my home. All right? But I'm saying that it is something that the go along, come along, talk show hosts and them should kind of look at as well, rather than the we versus them every day, every night. Oh gosh, the same old, right? And I hope for 2024 we could see some balance, Mr. Walsh. We could see some good programming that when it is through, people could be in a position now to make informed decision and not just a case of we versus them.
Thank you,
Have
my
a good
friend.
afternoon.
Thank you, my friend. And I'm happy that he said that, because that is exactly what this program provides. And we provided that today with respect to property tax. And we told you with facts, not fiction, facts, that the property tax is 3%, not 2.7%. We told you about Up the Caribbean. They have a lower property tax rate based on annual rental value, apples to apples, not apples to mangoes. That is much cheaper or much lower than Trinidad and Tobago. Let's take this one before we go. Take this one. Hello, caller, welcome. Caller, welcome. KFC.
Good afternoon, Wall Street. Good afternoon, Dr. Shane and Uncle Tommy.
Yeah.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My health and strength.
But
he balling for a balanced program. He just call about that program them who come and spread it and don't talk about the play they will level the playing field.
Oh God.
I listen to the young man on your program, entire program. All day. But otherwise he batting for UNC or he batting for PNM. He balance. He just come and he's a political scientist. He just come out and talk.
He's a political. That's exactly the political scientist. He tells it like it is.
Yeah,
I didn't bring him here because I didn't bring him because whether he's pro anti PNM or pro anti UNC. When he comes, he gives his opinion about the political parties. That's what he's supposed to do.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
The young lady coming and bash up, but he talking about the UNC.
Yeah,
he just giving what happened right now in the France.
Correct is right.
Next month, yeah, they talking about that.
Yeah, man. Bless.
Wall Street, long life and strength, everybody there.
Yeah,
man.
man.
Let's keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Yeah. So Dr. Mohammed, what we're gonna do, right? We are gonna be leaving 91.9. If you can stay with us, we're gonna go over to WZY TV and WZY 95.9 FM on Facebook and Instagram. But Dr. Mohammed, you know, if the people who know you coming on this program knows that you are political scientists and you give your opinions based on your research, right? It's not just like you throwing something on the wall and see what goes stick. You come here and you give And whether it has to go against or they go against the PNM, I don't. It is what it is, right? So I think.
It is what it is. In fact, the thing about it is that some people have a difficulty understanding that. And because we are so accustomed to he said it very clearly, the we and them, the we and them. But this is not about we and them. And, he talked about, and it's a valid point Nicola made about, as children and grandchildren, it is happening in his family and his home, which is a good thing. It's a house of good morals where people are helping out the parents and that sort of thing. But in the very same sense, in this country and in others, you're going to have those who don't value the contributions of parents and grandparents, and they therefore will not see the need to help out, as he rightfully is saying. But the thing about it is to think that that can happen in an entire country and everybody should have the same values. You can live in the same country, grow up under similar circumstances, and then emerge with different values, and therefore those values. Whereas where it would be a scenario where if your mother or grandfather or grandmother or whatever the case may be, may fall ill, you will take care of them and you would give them the best of the best health care that is possible. It is very simple for another family to say, listen, we're not able, we're not capable, we don't want to, and we will simply just feel comfortable putting them in a home. Even if it means that putting them in a home that could possibly very well care for them may lead to them dying faster because out of grief they put the people in a home, and that is not what people aspire for. So to think that we can all live in this utopian concept that we must all take care of our families, not all of us think the same way the gentleman does. There are others that will think completely opposite and say they don't see the need for that. And the same way that I respect that people will have different opinions. They can have and you know that they have very different opinions of whether I am pro. Or there are many people who believe that I am PNM, and then there are many people within the PNM that believe I am UNC, and then there are many people in the UNC that believe that I have gone to a different party. The fact of the matter is, I belong to nobody. The first thing that we must all think about before we talk about we and them, we are all in this together, regardless of whether we like it or not. We are all on the boat called Trinidad and Tobago together. And we are all sailing and hoping, riding the rough seas and the high tides and the big waves, and trying to evade the storms and hurricanes that come through this journey, wherever this journey is taking us. What I do know as a citizen of Trinidad and Tobago is that I want for my people, all of my people, regardless of creed, class, race, color, whatever, political belonging, political association, political affiliation, regardless of what, as long as they hold the distinction of being a Trinbagonian, I want the best for them. As a citizen and as a political scientist, I want the best for the students. I want the best for the generations to come. And where, regardless of whatever administration sits in the background in that house behind me, they have a duty and a responsibility for something called servant leadership. And servant leadership that allows for every single person who sits behind in that house to understand that they have a duty of care and responsibility for the welfare of the people of Trinidad and Tobago.
So, Dr. Mohammed, we got to leave it right here because we're going to leave. Tommy, we're going to say our goodbyes to 91.9 and we're going to switch over to Tommy. You want to say your goodbyes?
Well, like I always say, never look down on a person unless you give them a hand up. And you have to become the change you want to see. You, the man in the mirror. However, if you look at that mirror and you don't like what you see, don't blame the mirror.
And so, folks, to everyone at 91.9, have a splendiferous Happy New Year and see you in the new year. Bye-bye. We out of here.
Thing to do is sit frustration gets the better of you and make you do things you should never do. You got to keep the faith, you can't surrender. You never know, tomorrow may be brighter. Behind every dark cloud, there's a silver lining. So don't give up hope now. We gotta keep on trying. Oh Lord, we gotta keep on going. We gotta keep on moving on. As long as you have health and strength, reaching your goal, nothing.
You're listening to WZYE 95.9 FM. You are listening to WZYE LP 95.9 FM, the most influential name in Caribbean radio in the tri-state area. Broadcasting from East Orange, New Jersey, the most influential name in Caribbean radio, WZYE 95.9 FM.
We are back with you. It's Sunday Talk, Let's Talk Politics. We have moved over to WZYE 95.9 FM. And of course, we are streaming live on WZYE TV on YouTube and WZYE TV 95.9 FM on Facebook. So you know, Dr. Mohammed, I mean, and the thing about it is that
mind blown.
People know the program that we carry on here. And my good friend, I think he sent a voice note. Let's listen to his voice notes, what he had to say. I think he responded. Here's his voice note. Hold on.
Hey, could I make a suggestion to the callers and the go along, get along talk show hosts and them? Please, for 2024, focus on your program now, the program that is on at the moment. And don't be bringing in another program that gone already or a program to come. It's just a suggestion. You don't know other people's business, Mr. KFC. Right? So what you're asking me about if I talk other program, you know if I have access to the other programs? Focus on the program that you're on. Always looking to bring in somebody else's program to oh God, I bacchanal, kankatang little girl kind of thing, man.
Okay, all right. Okay. So Dr. Mohammed, let's go back to Dr. Mohammed, I wanted to ask you a question. Is the new year coming up? Do you want to rank the top 10 ministries in the current government?
No.
How come?
Because that will just simply put ministers in trouble.
Okay, all right. What do you mean you put them in trouble? I could rank them. You mean you put them in trouble?
You could rank them.
If they're doing a good job.
I will get ministers in trouble.
Oh, all right.
I have been so told.
Okay, so you have to stay away from that.
I don't have a problem, but one of the things that I would.
Then you're not being balanced. Then you're not being balanced.
I would need to do a rubric, and the rubric I would need to do is based on availability, relatability, performance, and that would be my three.
All right. I have a question. If you had to say who is the top ranking minister in the current PNM government, who would you say?
I can't do that either because I will get the person in trouble.
I could say though. I could tell you.
Don't say it.
Don't say it. All right.
No.
So we're not being balanced. We being sideways.
If we were to do that, the first question the persons will ask is, well, what rubric did you come up with? Well, the rubric is simple. It's based on the performance of the minister, whether the minister has done a certain level of servant leadership, practice servant leadership to the people of Trinidad and Tobago, first and foremost, has effectively executed their duty as per their oath of office in the execution of their job. That's 2. Has the person practiced a certain level of compassion and empathy towards the people, which is servant leadership? And is the person able to relate easily to the people of Trinidad and Tobago in a manner where there is mutual respect and understanding? Those are and if you were to, and those are 4 categories. You could each mark the person out of 25 and come up with a tally of 100, and I would give you the tally. That's very simple to do. We're not being biased. We're not being it will be very based, very balanced on those 4 categories.
Dr. Mohammed, you teach at a university, right? Right. I teach at a university, right? And when you do a syllabus, you do a rubric in your syllabus, right?
Correct.
I could do a rubrics right now in my head about.
Me too. That's what I just did for you.
Who is the worst performing MP in Trinidad and Tobago in the government? I don't even have to do a rubrics to figure that out. I'm serious.
We may have very different opinions on that.
Yeah, the worst performing MP in this current government for me is the Minister of National Security. That is the worst performing MP, and I can tell you why he's the worst performing MP based on our rubrics.
But who is the worst performing? Who is your worst performing MP in the UNC?
You know, I don't know. You'll be able to answer that better than I can. I'm being honest with you. I don't know.
Who is not in their constituency? Who is not in their constituency as often as they should be? Who is not on the ground with their people? Who should be doing a lot more for the constituency in terms of its advocating for its development? Who is seen only once a week or once a month in their constituency office? Those are things that you need to ask in terms of if you're assessing MPs and their performance in terms of who is the worst performing MP in the UNC.
No, who's the worst performing MP in the UNC? I don't know. I really don't know. Based on your rubrics. In the PNM, the worst is.
There might be several.
Huh? Say
there
that again?
Might be several. There might be several.
You mean you
want at the bottom of the barrel?
Yeah, the bottom of the barrel. The bottom of the bottom of the barrel.
You want to know you know who I would say? You know who I would say?
Who?
And I will probably get plenty licks for that. But it is and doing a Christmas, doing events in their constituency and doing my answer would be Kamala Prasad Bisasa.
Oh God! I shock. Kamala boy? Really? You had to show me that rubrics.
I just said it. I just gave it to you.
Okay, all right.
The only thing that Kamala has, in my opinion, that is keeping her from. She has very good counselors. The counselors that are within her constituency are very good at keeping her afloat.
So before we go to the caller, Dr. Mohammed, would you agree that Fitzgerald is the worst performing MP in the PNM?
I feel it may be Imbert.
Or the neck and neck, or Imbert outlean him? The neck and
I think Imbert outleads him.
You know that
the first person I would say, because because Diego Martin Northeast, there are certain things that are happening in Diego Martin Northeast that I think Mr. Inwood needs to pay attention to, which is right now, the first heavy shower of rain that comes down into that constituency, there are excessive flooding and excessive surface runoff, and the Maraval River becomes a disaster zone, and therefore there are certain things that are happening in Diego Martin Northeast that Mr. Ember should pay more attention to, because in places where it's never flooded and people's houses have never been at risk, it's now at risk.
Let's take this call. Hello, caller. Welcome. Caller.
Thank you, Mr. Anston, for taking my call.
Kathy, Kathy, 1 minute. Kathy, 1 minute. Kathy, here we take all people calls. Everybody. When you call, sometimes there are people on the other lines and we can't pick it up, but we take everybody calls. We don't screen people calls.
Mr. Anston, I am not making an allegation, please. Thank you for taking my call. That is what I will respectfully say to you. You are the host. I heard contribution made after me an allegation. I would like to categorically state that when I called first, I did not call to attack nobody on your program. I made my contribution as an observant and an objective person to your program. Secondly, I understand and I heard clearly this is a tape program. It was said that I'm an advocate for the PNM, and nowhere, nobody cannot prove to me or show me that I am no member or no party holder, no affiliation, no board member, nothing for no PNM party. So that needs to be struck out by the political scientists. Thirdly, I heard he said I was a member of the CTP Kuva Tabaki Regional Corporation Council member. I was not a member. Right? All other
Was it Shigwanas and Kathy?
You might know me by, please, sir. You may know me by seeing me around your party. You know nothing more of me. Please refrain from saying anything about me. I just called to contribute about the program. Don't let your statement be on me, please. I have my lawyers listening. Secondly, Mr. Kunji, please, if I make my contribution, I don't attack you all. Please. That is all I have to say. Don't let me have to be sending a lawsuit, please.
All right, Kathy,
I
leave it
take
here.
respect to people. I don't attack nobody.
Okay, leave it here. All right. Oh God, boy. Anyway, back to the property tax, right? You know, the thing about it, Dr. Mohammed, is that the past few days, myself and Mr. Brian Manning have been going back and forth, and I'm asking Mr. Manning publicly, Mr. Manning, please, just provide a little evidence to the people of Trinidad and Tobago that Trinidad and Tobago have one of the lowest property tax rates in the hemisphere. Just a little bit now.
No.
I mean, what do you mean by
no? No answer. You're asking. You're not being reasonable. No, you're not being reasonable to the minister.
What should I ask for then? Tell me.
You're not nothing. You should ask for nothing. You should ask and expect nothing.
But he made a statement.
Do not ask him about the statement he has made. Whoever has written that narrative is not going to reverse the narrative. That is a fact.
Okay, all right.
Right? So the narrative is written. The narrative is written. The narrative has already begun. The minister has said what he have had to say, and he's going to continue with the narrative. He cannot retract. To ask him to do that would be very unfair to the man. Politically unfair.
So, Dr. Mohammed, what you are saying is that as a politician, I can put misleading information in the public domain, and I don't have to defend that misleading statement. I don't have to prove to nobody whether it's right or wrong.
He's not representing himself. He's not representing himself. He's not representing himself. He is the spokesperson on behalf of the government of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. Therefore, his narrative is not written for himself. His narrative is written for all of the government. regardless of who, where, and what. The narrative is written for all of the ministers. He is the deliverer of the message. They say don't shoot the messenger, and this is why I'm saying to you that Mr. Manning has a responsibility called collective ministerial responsibility. The narrative was written. He was responsible for delivering the narrative, and therefore that is a narrative that they are going to stick by. If we are, as a state, as people, as minds, as those sort of things, if we are going to call upon, we are going to criticize and debunk the statement, then by all means. But if you are going to ask for any minister of government, regardless of which administration is in power, to retract a statement, to justify, to qualify it, you're not going to get it. There's a minister currently on Al Jazeera, Minister Muyaya, who is speaking on behalf of the current administration of the Democratic Republic of Congo. And he has been on a major talk show of Al Jazeera together with a political activist from the Democratic Republic of Congo, as well as one of those international observers as to what is happening with regard to the state of democracy in the Democratic Republic of Congo. No matter how hard, no matter what was said, or questions thrown to that spokesperson on behalf of the government of the Democratic Republic of Congo, he has not changed his narrative. And that is because the narrative has already been created for him. So I am drawing reference to that, to you, too, that it is for others like yourself, me, whoever else, who does not believe that the current rubric and format and formula used to implement property tax in Trinidad and Tobago is correct, to provide the discussion, provide listeners with a discussion that is going to edify them to say, listen, this really not making sense. But to ask a minister to retract or to justify or to do anything else, you're not going to get it. That's spitting top in mud. And I'm showing you it's not happening in the Democratic Republic of Congo, and their elections are on the way still, and they're counting ballots right now, and there's quite a huge amount of uproar regarding the validity of the election. But the spokesperson for that administration is keeping very much he's standing his ground as it pertains to what the narrative is. Therefore, Mr. Manning is going to do the very same thing, and any government minister you speak to, and senator.
Oh, okay. So what you're getting is a class on, even though a statement may be given to you and it's inaccurate, you have to read the statement and stay
not true. Correct.
Stay the course.
You have that under collective ministerial responsibility. He has to do, otherwise he would have to resign or at least lose his portfolio.
So
which minister do you know in Trinidad and Tobago will do that outside of Keith Rowley?
Well, I think LaHunt. They got rid of LaHunt for the same thing, I think.
Yes. Who's currently, from what I understand, Mr. LaHunt is currently in charge of ransom.
He came back? I thought he was with the IDB, I think. He's back? I thought at one point
he's now, I believe he's at the helm of the ransom back.
Okay, well, boy.
That's the last thing I heard of Mr. LaHunt.
Big walk, boy. Big walk. But
that's a conversation I had after a few days ago, and I did not even know that myself. I was actually informed that Mr. LaHunt was at the helm of ransom.
So you know something, Dr. Mohammed, we see that Pochoy Charles has left us, and we say condolences to his family, and may he rest in peace. But Dr. Mohammed, back in 2014, Mr. Ho Charles made some statements regarding autonomy for Tobago. And Ho Charles have now left us. And it appears that not much have changed. So I just want you to listen to what was said back in 2014. Listen to this.
Ho Charles on Robinson's death. House of Assembly. Tobago's political leaders met on Tuesday, April 15, 2014, for the third time to discuss Tobago's continued struggle for autonomy. After that meeting, held at the Mount Irving Bay Hotel, former Chief Secretary Ho Charles told the media that, in his opinion, former Prime Minister and President Arthur N.R. Robinson did not die a very happy man because the struggle for internal self-government that he started 37 years ago had still not been finalized. He added, "Of all the tributes we are paying, I think the greatest tribute that the country, the government, the parliament and the people can pay to Mr. Robinson is to make sure that they give his people the freedom he had started, the struggle he had started, to give us our freedom, give us our internal self-government so that the people can get along with their lives. I am sure he is going to be happy in his grave, happy with his maker if that is done." Charles, who served as chief secretary from 1996 to 2001, said that everyone, including Trinidad, should work together to ensure that the authorities grant Tobago its self-government, and that would be the greatest tribute. All that they are saying, all that they are doing, there could be no greater tribute to Mr. Robinson. Ho Charles on Robinson's death. House of Assembly. Tobago's political leaders met on Tuesday, April 15, 2014.
So now Ho Charles has left us, and how much have changed? So
not many at all. Not
9
much at
years.
all. Yes,
9 years.
you are right. Mr. Lahant is now at the helm of IDB.
Oh yeah. I remember something about that. Yeah.
But he was previously at Answer Mature.
Yeah, he was at Answer
Ho
Mature.
Charles on Robinson's death. House of.
So Dr. Mohammed, the thing about it is that, okay, JB agreeing with you. You have to go with the Westminster system. You have to go the party line. Okay, yeah. Party before country, right? That's what it is.
But that's the system. It's not even the Westminster system. It's also the American system, anyways. You have to collective responsibility.
Yeah, but we just have people. Listen. The Republicans and the Democrats.
We're not talking about your federal. We're not talking about the framework of the federal republic, where you have governors and senators that are sitting in Congress that go against the administration. That's the difference. The difference, your Congress and your administration are two separate entities. However, we don't have in your system your secretaries of state in the different departments. So your secretary for education, energy, defense, X, Y, and Z, state vice president. They don't go against government policy. What happens in your system is that the parliamentarians who make up the Congress, which is the Senate and the House, they speak out against certain measures that are made by the federal government. But in terms of at the state level and at the parliamentary level, which is in your Congress, you have dissenting voices. That's the difference here. That the persons within the government also sit within the parliament. So and in the parliament as a whole, in that it sits in both the Senate and the House of Representatives, and therefore collective ministerial responsibility applies in the Parliament building. That does not necessarily apply in the Congress of the United States.
You know, Dr. Mohammed, Tommy and I live in New Jersey. And New Jersey has one of the highest property tax rates in this country, which is 2.47%. And Mr. Brian Manning used property tax in America as an example for the 3%. Oh God,
right? Which state did he use though?
No, we can't use none because none of them have a property tax, an effective property tax rate of over 3%. But he sent me the article.
So that is where your fact checking and that is where your argument with regard to the statement made about property tax in the United States
Correct.
now finds validity in terms of
Yes.
using Mr. Manning.
There we go.
Right?
There we
The same thing applies to your statement. The same thing applies to the statement on the validity of your argument against Mr. Manning's statement with regard to property tax throughout the Caribbean, right? It's the same point we were making in the other show on the other station. The same thing applies. That is where your argument will find strength. But to ask him to retract and to correct, that's not happening.
I agree. I agree with you. I agree. You just put it so
And I will also say to you that it is unfair for you to ask him to do such given the political system in which we exist. It's not going to happen. It's unfair to yourself and it's unfair to him. Because it's not going to happen.
But I should ask.
You can't ask a minister to retract a government statement.
But if it's inaccurate,
you're asking him to do something.
Yeah.
The government is going to find spins and they're going to find ways in which they can spin it.
Yeah, seriously though. Watch now. I don't know how I feel like I could try. First of all, right? The first thing he said is the hemisphere. Next thing he says, you don't even know what you're talking about. You know that Trinidad and Tobago is in the Western Hemisphere. I said, okay. Yeah, they're in the Western Hemisphere.
But we're also in the Southern Hemisphere.
Yeah, and then I said to him, but wait now, all the Caribbean countries, all in the Western Hemisphere. You understand? And you know America too, you know. Don't forget that. So he gave me an article that showed the lowest taxes in America. All of them under 3%. But I don't know, boy. I think something wrong with us, man. Seriously. I think Tommy.
We are in a state of we're in a state where we either consciously make decisions to move away from current political institutions that exist, and I use the word institution cautiously with regard to United National Congress. I use the word institution to definitely describe the People's National Movement. That's what they are. One is a political party and one is a political institution, right? And the UNC has become a political party more than an institution under the leadership of Kamala Prasad-Sessa. I make no apologies for saying that. The PNM has, over the years, regardless of whether they've lost an election, won an election, has been able to maintain its authenticity in how it operates as a political system and a political institution, with some levels of revision to their origins, but definitely has been able to maintain its political culture, its political ideology, and how it behaves as a political, in terms of the political culture of the organization. You can't take that away from them. Their science has been able to, at their worst, which was in 2020, they were able to find creative mechanisms to ensure that their election day machinery and the creativity that exists within their election slogans and their campaign slogans and their campaign machinery worked. And it gave Trinidad and Tobago is a nation of energy and vibrations, and you cannot take that away from them, which is the People's National Movement. You can't take that away from that the People's National Movement has outdone the UNC post 2010, I should say, under the leadership of Kamala Prasad-Sessa. And we are at a stage where, going into 2025, the people of Trinidad and Tobago has to consciously decide whether or not they're going to keep what exists and stay in the, as your caller rightfully say, the them and we behavior, or are we going to stick together and be one people in all of this together, understanding that we cannot be divided, we cannot have this hate, we cannot have this disgust, we cannot be, why is it that we've allowed ourselves to be indoctrinated into a culture that we hate each other so much by just having a difference of opinion? Why it is we can't simply disagree, but understand as well that with that disagreement comes a certain level of respecting each other's values. Your caller called and he spoke very much, and I agree with him on that. He spoke about, that whole notion of children taking care of parents and grandparents and helping out, and he, when he said that it happens in his home and in his family, and I respect that. Unfortunately, that does not happen through the length and breadth because there has been gaps, right? So we are at a stage where we need to look around. The same way we're looking around and looking at property tax as it exists in the Bahamas and in Grenada and in St. Lucia and in Jamaica and in Barbados, and we're looking at it as it exists in the United States and whatnot, we also have to look at how the people of Grenada were able to remove themselves from the years of governance under Dr. Keith Mitchell and go towards the younger Mitchell. How the people of Barbados have been able to prosper under Prime Minister Mia Mottley and see a different vision. How the people of the Bahamas has changed governments every 5 years since 1995 because they have not agreed with how the state of affairs. How the people of Jamaica has, for the first time in 30 or 40 years, when they re-elected Prime Minister Holness, they gave him such a huge majority. It was the first majority of that level in 40 years. How the people of St. Lucia were able to completely and totally, on the one hand, they went totally for their former Prime Minister, who is a former businessman, and then did not agree with his approach to governance and went completely in the opposite direction and voted for someone new. And that has happened throughout the region, even in Guyana, right? We've seen the youngest president elected in Latin America coming out of El Salvador, right? Where does the people of Trinidad and Tobago want to go halfway through this second decade of the 21st century?
You know the answer, Dr. Mohammed. You know the answer. If
they seem to want to keep it the way it is.
Correct is right. That's the answer. Dr. Mohammed, when somebody can say to you, without seeing a manifesto, without seeing policies, without seeing what type of employment policies, without seeing what type of economic policies, that I am real till I dead. How you go change that person's mindset? No, what it is you have to do in order to show that person that a person should be bringing policies to improve the lives of many people in our country. Not a specific set of people, but to improve. And when you see after 5 years, you want to look at the numbers and see the numbers going up. Things are improving. If you see things are not improving and they are going opposite, for example, if you see that crime is 400 this year, next year it's 450, next year it's 500, and crime going in a certain direction, is that the right government for the country? I'm just asking.
And this is and please note, and you have to put in a caveat there. You have to put in a caveat. This is not an anti-PNM and this is not an anti-government, an anti-UNC statement. It is for both. It is for all political parties that aspire to hold government. The word government is not associated with political party. The word government is separate and apart from the political party system. The word government require it speaks to the persons, regardless of who they are. The government, it speaks to the people, the collective group of people that are charged with the responsibility of running the affairs of the people who have elected them, regardless of what party they've come from. So that is something that must be made very clear, so that you don't get accused now of talking about this government. We're not talking about this government. In fact, I'm not talking about the current administration. I'm talking about any administration that comes into power must have a vision and must have a plan that first and foremost improves the lives and livelihood of every single citizen that sits on the land of Trinidad and Tobago, regardless. And that is my concern for the people of Trinidad and Tobago. One, the cost of living, the price of food, the availability of food. We're talking about property tax, but let's start at the bare basic before we get to property tax. The affordability of households to ensure that there's food on the table. Tomorrow is New Year's Day. How many families in this country can afford a decent meal? There are people that are going to be flocking to church tonight, to temples. There are families that are going to come together to pray because we are a spiritual nation regardless of what we think. But how many people are sitting in their house and wondering, what do they have to provide on their table tomorrow, the 1st of January 2024, for their children? But worse yet, the next day, Tuesday, the 2nd of January, those children and families that have children, are they equipped with the resources to send those children to school effectively? Or are we going to be sitting at intersections of lights and continue to see another breed of young people and children be selling little odds and ends and wiping windscreens and also selling vegetables and not having the opportunity to go and learn a skill or a trade? That does not speak to the PNM administration, That does not speak to the UNC administration, It speaks to every single administration and every single person who aspires to lead and aspires to go into that esteemed office. So before we are not even starting to think about, Terence Yeltsin was talking about our mortality rate and our declining population. But to start with, can people afford to have children? 2, we're talking about, do we have enough opportunities in Trinidad and Tobago where young people, skilled and unskilled, educated, semi-educated, can get jobs? Then let's talk about the availability of I saw an article in the paper where restaurants are cautiously looking at 2024. And cautiously looking at 2024 because of the lack of the availability of foreign exchange in the country. 2, people's affordability and willingness to spend. 3, the availability of food in terms of, is there a consistent flow of food security and availability given our geopolitical position, right? And what is happening in terms of the international flow of food. We're not thinking outside of the box. We're sitting down, and there are people in this country, sadly, are thinking only about what is existing inside of these 5,000 square kilometers. But there's something that is going on beyond that touch and concerns and affects us inside here very much like what is going outside. Why do you think it was important for Prime Minister Ralph Gonsalves to call a meeting of CELAC and the CARICOM and the UN, and to have Guyana and Venezuela sit down and have a conversation, and have separate conversations, one with the president of Guyana and one with the president of Venezuela? Why was that very important for this region? Because we cannot afford a war in this part of the world. Plain and simple. Because the ramifications of such is going to be extreme for every single nation that makes up the Caribbean region, as well as Latin America. So for those people who think that it is just about here, it is not about here. It is not only about us. It is beyond us as well. It is what do we want for ourselves within and outside. And therefore, we have to seriously think about everything. Not this we and them and who is PNM and who is UNC and no. Or what grudge we might hold. Listen, Wall Street, let me make it very clear to you and Uncle Tommy today. I don't hate a single member of Parliament. I don't hate them. I despise and I disagree with their mode of governance on both sides. Let me make it also very clear. Both sides.
Or do we?
One side has an implementation deficit, and the other side doesn't have a plan completely.
Dr. Shane,
yes, sir.
How do we educate the population to just think about what they're doing and what is being foisted upon them?
To be honest with you, I am sorry to say this, but we can only educate those who wish to be educated. That's the bottom line. We can only educate those who wish to be educated. We can only help those who wish to be helped. We can only assist those who really and truly require the assistance to understand how can they get a better life. But outside of that, if people are not willing, and if we cannot force them, if people just simply like how it is, and they are comfortable in the way things are run, then so be it. That's what it comes down to. And
are they really comfortable? Are they really comfortable, or are they making believe?
Well, to each its own, and to each person who is uncomfortable must be able to recognize their level of discomfort, right? And everybody has a conscience, and everybody has a certain level of understanding, which allows them allows them to know and to feel and to think whether or not they're happy in their current scenario, and what do they want their future to look like. That's what it comes down to.
What do you predict a year from now would be after we have gone through a year of this new property tax?
It is going to be property tax is going to form a serious debate in the run-up to the 2025 general election, no doubt about it, right? That's one. Two, our crime situation is going to also form a serious debate. So I see crime, the level of criminality in Trinidad and Tobago is going to continue to be a major concern for every single citizen and resident, as well as everybody in the diaspora. That's the first thing. Our ability to afford is a second thing. Affordability of food. Food prices in December were extremely high. And that is something we must be able to consciously look at. And then the issue of property tax, when it is implemented, I don't think Trinidad and Tobago is robust enough anymore to jump on board protests as is happening currently in Argentina against the economic adjustments made by their current president, who has only been in office for 2 weeks. But we are going to have to sit down and really figure out whether or not we want to be where we are in 2026. Let's just say an election is called in November 2025, where it's constitutionally due. Then that gives 1 month to the new year, and then we enter into 2026. I don't know if Trinidadians and Tobagonians are prepared to live life in stagnation and the whole listen to the continuous narrative of, on one hand, it is 3% of your annual rental value, or on the other side, there should be no property tax. I don't think no property tax is an option. No property tax is not realistic. But there are a lot of things that need fixing along the way. There has to be equity in how people are appointed to roles and positions. It cannot only be one where it sits in the hands of a selected few that belong to one political party. Opportunities for young people needs to be very much diverse and aligned with not just the government, and I mean any government. I have to continue to say this. Any government must be able to align themselves with the realities of the ground and understand what those realities are and how can those realities be placed in a policy that will benefit the people in a more direct and more viable and also lucrative manner. It should not only be for a selected few. And when I say a selected few, I mean those persons who have interest in agriculture or IT. We have enough space. We have special economic zones. We have free zones in Trinidad and Tobago that are empty. And with a robust approach to generating jobs and entrepreneurship and a little bit of innovation, I'm sure we can move the country forward in terms of opportunities for young people and not so young people. I mean, there's so much we could talk about in that, in terms of what do I predict. I can't predict human behavior because I'm not a psychologist, but I can hope and expect that by 2025, we would move away from this divisiveness of we and them and understand that we are one people. We are one people. We have one passport. We have one constitution that is in dire need of reform. We have a public service that needs to be reformed. And that's not just my words, but it's also the words of the Honorable Chief Justice in his opening remarks at the 2023-2024 law term. He did talk about the need for reform of the public service in order to get the ease of doing business and to make certain adjustments to how things are done so that there's less bureaucracy in the system.
And we have to admit that we are frustrated when it comes to the levels of bureaucracy that exist for doing very simple things that can be or should be available to and should be done online. And therefore, what do we need? What do we want? What do we want? Yes, we need to fix the drainage issues. We need to fix the flooding issues. But how can we fix flooding if there's illegal quarrying? We're putting the cart before the horse. How do we fix the agriculture system and we go towards food security if we've not done anything to? You see, we are a country that must be taught. There has to be a certain level of teaching, and not a teaching from a theoretical perspective, but a teaching from a practical perspective. So, for example, why can't we have some sort of plant? Exactly. Planting garden is too hard. CPT is saying it. That's true. But there are ways in which food security can be secured in Trinidad and Tobago. But that's not for me to say. I can't be the one voice that is shouting out to both parties that this is what you should or shouldn't do. They have their own philosophy. Maybe I should talk to a new party. Or maybe we should start looking towards something different. I mean, everybody beat up on Fali and his shift from the PDP to the TPP, right? From a political aspect, that is not recognized in the THA, in the administration and in the law that governs the THA. But everybody has a conscious decision to make. Like I was reading where somebody said that Lawrence Murad was the worst minister, but he was also the best attorney general to ever be in office in this country, regardless of what anybody thinks.
Yeah, I saw that.
Right? So you don't think that I hold, and we will go into it since we're having this discussion now. I absolutely admire Her Excellency, the President, Christine Kangaloo, because she has done really well to make good on her word that her words and her speech at her inauguration as President of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. That's one. I have a great level of admiration for Kazim Hussein, who is a very humble man, who I think has extremely good intentions and has really and truly, when you listen to him speak, doesn't walk around with a chip on his shoulder or air about him, but he's really just a simple Trinbagonian human being who grew up in very simple background, trying to make a difference in a very bureaucratic system. I don't care what anybody say, but I really like Penelope Beckles and I really like Camille Robinson-Regis. The same way I like Amory Brown, right? But it's not about who you like. It's about who is doing and who is human, who is relatable. It's the same way I admire Rodney Charles, right? The same way I have regard for Dr. Lakram Bodo. It's the same way I have regard for MP Anita Haynes. It's not about which party they support, It's about who's doing and trying their very best to make good on their duty to the people of Trinidad and Tobago. I just call a few, right? I also think that Mr. Manning, he's just the bad guy in this thing, the bad cop in this. And he has a duty and a responsibility under the Westminster system to follow. But is he a bad person? Absolutely not. I am sure if there's another issue that comes to hand and somebody goes to his office and asks for his help, he'll try his best to help them. But we have to also understand that in politics, having a good heart is sometimes your worst asset, because you are beholden to your party's politics and your party's policies and your government's policy. You could disagree, and that's what the Westminster system says. You disagree behind closed doors, you rant, you rave, you cuss, you carry on, you dissent how much you want, but once the majority of your colleagues agree that this is where we're going, what we're going with, when you walk out of that cabinet room or that decision-making room or that committee room, you nod and smile. And when you're handed a responsibility, you have to execute that responsibility or you tender your resignation. That's as plain as it is. All of those things, people will say that's why we should shift from proportional representation, from Westminster to proportional representation, so that everybody gets a piece of the pie and everybody gets a chance to do proper representation of the people. But if you look around the countries that do have proportional representation as their system of administration and system of governance, look how many times they've had to change prime ministers and governments and how many elections they've had to go through. Israel is just one. So, and France is another. But we are not mature enough. Even after 60-something years of independence, Trinidad and Tobago is not ready for proportional representation in its full-blown scheme the way it should work. That's just how it is.
Well, Dr. Mohammed, I think you give your platform speech there.
Listen, I can only wish the people of Trinidad and Tobago the very best and hope that in years to come, in months to come, that better befalls us. And if nothing happens, that is, puts us in a position to see our future positively and favorably, then we're going to have to make very hard decisions for ourselves to decide in which direction we go. Because there are many people out there who want to do something to help their country, but the maths just doesn't give them the opportunity to do so. Nor does the minds, because power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts the mind absolutely. And those who have had a taste of power, as Col Members will tell you, and as Kamla Prasad Bisasa will deny, it corrupts the goodness of your heart. The thing just too sweet.
So, Dr. Mohammed, I think we are going into the new year and we are hoping that things improve in Trinidad and Tobago. It's a good thing that we didn't reach 600 on the murder rate, this year. Even though this might be the second highest murder rate in the history of Trinidad and Tobago. I know there are some people wanted to reach 600. I don't want to see murder rate increase in Trinidad and Tobago. That's the last thing I want to see. I want to see a murder rate decreasing, and I do also want the police and them to say that the rate was only 580, for example. We do less than last year. No, that is unacceptable. Yeah. I want it to be, you could come to the people and say, listen, every year our goal is to reduce the murder rate in Trinidad and Tobago. Not only that, but economics as well too. With people living below the poverty line. You want to see a reduction in people living below the poverty line from this year to next year. Unemployment. You want to see unemployment numbers going down, not unemployment going up. In the education, right? You want to see those who are the bottom of the barrel, those who are scoring under 50% in the SCA. You want to see that number go up, right? In the scholarships, the 100 scholarship that they just recently give out, right? You want to see more of those people who are the bottom being able to get those scholarships too as well. So my goal is for the country to do better, and You know, I mean, I am not a person, and I'll be honest with you, Dr. Mohammed, I don't care which party it is. All I want a party to come and say, listen, this is what we're going to do and do it. Just do like Nike. Let's do it. You know, you come in, you promise the people you're going to do something, fulfill your promises. Go ahead, Tommy.
I said, just do what you set out to do.
Yeah, just do what you set out to do and stop trying to hoodwink the people. You know, and I think we have too many governments who have come in, told you we're going to do some things, and when they get in, right, they didn't do it. You know, but it depends on the people too. The people have to take
Well,
a
they need
stand.
to adopt. They need to adopt. No, but we don't have to look very far to understand political communication. You know, we don't have to look far. I keep saying this. Prime Minister Motley does it excellently. Prime Minister Motley does not make a doesn't go there and just make a statement, but she does a full-blown explanation as to why her government is deciding to go a particular way. It is why I saw a photo this morning. Somebody who was landing out of Port of Spain into Grantley Adams International Airport on the 14th of December. He was landing in the night, or the individual was landing in the night. And as the plane was touching down on the runway, the individual took a video of the amount of aircraft, huge, not small, the amount of jets lined up at Bradley Adams International Airport was about 8 of them from different companies. There was one from British Airways, one from Air Transat, one from Aer Lingus, 2 from Virgin, and there were 2 others. And he said, the caption was, Wayboy, busy night at BGI. What's going on here? We have 14 gates at Piaco International. 14. And those are 14 gates for big jets. So at any one time, 14 jets can be lined up. How many are lined up at a time? And take into consideration that Piaco International Airport is open 24/7. And Grantley Adams International Airport is open until about 11 or 12 o'clock latest. What is Barbados doing right that Trinidad is doing wrong?
Well,
so
left to be decided.
Enough to think about. Enough to think about.
Yes. So Dr. Mohammed, and we want to say thank you for giving your time to support us here at WZY 95.9 FM. You know, we do appreciate you. Whenever we are calling you, you come in here and you join us. We really do appreciate that from the bottom of our heart. And you know, we know you have a bright future. You know, you have a very, very bright future in politics.
Some will disagree.
Huh? Nah, listen.
Some will disagree with you.
You know, Martin Luther King says, your life ends the day you remain silent about things that matter. You know, Martin Luther King says that.
Correct.
And sometimes you have to tackle some of the tough issues. And you have to face up to the issues. And the politicians have to understand, if you're in politics, you know, you have to be able to deal with the good, the bad, and the indifferent. You know, and if you can't deal with that, then you shouldn't be in politics. You know, so I mean,
sure.
In my closing for because we're not going to see the people again until 2022. Again, we say condolences to Uchoicha's family, you know, on his passing.
I really hope he's afforded a state funeral, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah. But you know, let me read this before we go. I know what happened on this. This is on Brian Manning's Facebook page. This is what he says. Please note that the average annual property tax payment in Trinidad and Tobago will be between $486 per year and $1,620 per year. Listen to this. Compare that to the US, where homeowners pay a median of USD $2,690 each year in property taxes, according to the US Census Bureau data. And here is this next paragraph now. I make him do a little homework too, eh? Listen to this. Effective property tax rate by state range from 0.29% in Hawaii to 2.47% in New Jersey. This is an annual tax rate on the full market value of an entire home, not the smaller annual rental value.
What difference does it make, though?
I
I am sure citizens would prefer to just simply pay a tax. Yeah, I mean, one of your callers said it, a flat rate that they know that they could see. Somebody's talked about nominal, and you want to know that if my property is valued at $1.5 million, that I am going to pay. I pay a tax on that.
That is it. That is it. But he is saying this is an annual tax rate on the full market value of the entire home. What? Anyway.
I will say this to you. I will say this to you. You have gotten an iron. You've gotten a piece of iron that's very hot. I will ask you to continue to beat it because it is clearly getting traction.
Dr. Mohammed, thank you so much. Dr. Mohammed, I've beaten it and I'm going in the guile and I continue to beat it. You know why? Because anytime you have a minister going in cabinet in parliament and telling people something, and then a minister in the Ministry of Finance, listen, if you go to that guy's Facebook page, you don't have a lot of you don't have a lot of statements he have made, The man on Facebook now almost every day.
No, he's not.
Yeah? Because and so
what
far
what you're doing is dealing with this from a factual perspective. This is not about what you hear, this is not what you feel, this is not your thoughts, this is not your opinion, this is just plain old facts. And that is why I said to you, do not ask of the individual to retract a statement. I will implore upon you to make your statements, to debunk everything with you see the fact that this has picked up some traction, a great amount of traction, clearly from a minister. It's making sense, right? And as I say, we would all prefer to pay tax on something that is worth X, Y, or Z, not something that may probably be worth X, Y, or Z.
Right. You decide to make it up. You just make it up. You say, all right, you live here,
right?
You go pay this. You live there, you go pay this.
That's not how it works. That's not how it works. That's not how it works. Right? So you continue doing your good work and bringing out the information that is necessary for everybody who is listening to pay attention.
A better country. So my closing comments is simple. Do not let anyone become a vacuum and suck the happiness out of you. Pull the plug. What I say, happy 2024 to each and everyone, and may you get all your wishes that you desire in 2024, and may you live a healthy and prosperous life in 2024. Closing words, Tommy. I'll give Dr. Mohammed the last word. Go ahead, Tommy.
Mine is, someone may not remember what you say or what you did, but they certainly remember how you made them feel. So it's very important that you pay attention to the way you make people feel. Again, a very happy new year to each and every one. Safety in the new year. That's what my mantra is going to be.
Thank you, Tommy. And Dr. Mohammed, you got the last word.
I just wish all of you all of God's blessings, and hope for much better 2024 in every single possible way.
Yeah, and to all the people in the chat, Abby, Kathy, JB, Captain Singh, Ikabodi, Bijram, all of you guys in the chat, we wish you guys a happy holidays too as well, and a merry new year. And may 2024 be better than 2023. We are out of here, and we're gonna go out with Appreciation by Johnny King. Yeah, take care, guys. We out of here. Bye-bye.
Good night.
Try to be happy. Relentless search for luxury. In search of peace and happiness, the human mind wouldn't rest. A constant nag within we soul, demanding respect from the world. We get the urge in different form, but luxury is the norm. Money is very essential, but can't buy peace of mind at all. We still like dogs without a bone, if we have the money alone. Because appreciation plays on the human mind. Everyone needs some for happiness all the time. Because importance, if we are drive to live, everyone's on the hunt. Every man ought to give generously. The feeling has no barrier. Race and class doesn't matter. Once you are alive, you in the game. You do anything to get a good name. Some wealthy men turn to suicide. Can't find food to feed their pride. The aged and crippled in the ring, fight to be like a king. Children become delinquent for lack of love from their parents. That's why appreciation is most important to man. Appreciation plays on the human mind. Everyone needs some for happiness all the time. Because important, if we are trying to live, everyone's on the hunt. Every man ought to give generously.